2024 is finally over and we are now moving on into 2025. I wanted to take a second to look back and reflect upon some of the stuff that happened over this past year. We had every YouTuber under the sun getting caught for doing weird things. We got the end of Jujutsu Kaisen, the end of My Hero Academia. We've had all sorts of manga, from things like Hunter x Hunter returning from hiatus, all the way to brand new insane stories like Centurion coming out. And overall, it's just been a really cool year for anime. There's been so many things that have happened that are just unpredictable, things that you never would have imagined would have happened in this year. Which brings me to today's video premise. So I wanted to come here and try and predict what will happen in the next year of anime. Now, just doing that on its own is kind of boring, so what I decided to do is to make a bingo board so that at the end of next year, we can come back and see how well I did. Now, I wanted to do one of these with you guys as well, but I just didn't get enough responses on predictions you guys had. But if you guys want to do one so we can compare at the end of next year, just leave some predictions in the comments. I'm going to try my best to explain myself, but some of these are pretty spicy. Like, I'm shooting some full court shots here. I'm throwing them and just hoping they stick. But yeah, no, let's hop into it. For my first prediction for anime in 2025, we have Demon Slayer movie beats Mugen Train. So if you did not know, Demon Slayer Mugen Train is the highest grossing anime film of all time. It completely killed it in Japan and was showing there for like months and months on end. It was giant in the States and it was just enormous. And although I know that that was when Demon Slayer was at its peak hype and nothing was more exciting than Demon Slayer, I do believe that this Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie is not only going to forward the animation industry and maybe just anime movies in general, but I think it will beat Mugen Train as the highest grossing anime movie of all time. But next, One Piece spinoff. Listen, One Piece is at an all-time high. We have the live action. We have the anime remaking Fishman Island and making its own separate spin-off arc. We have the One Piece remake. It's like, it feels like everybody just wants a piece of that One Piece pie right now. And I really think that we will probably get some spin-off series within this next year or two, because I just want to see this world through as many different perspectives as I can. And it just goes more to show how well of a world Oda has built up, that a spin-off in the world about just normal people like One Piece fan letter is the third highest rated anime on my anime list. Absolutely insane. I think we have some One Piece spin-offs to look for. All right, next up, major studio shutdown. Okay, I'm not hoping this happens. I don't want this to happen, but I think at the rate that some of these studios are just churning out anime, like JC Staff just put out like 12 anime last season. I feel like this will kind of be like the anime version of what the gaming industry is going through right now. I don't really know too much about the politics of animation studios and things like that, but I do think that we might see a major studio shutdown in 2025. Moving on, Sakamoto Days ends, and I mean the manga for this. Now, I don't think this is that crazy of a take, and I don't think this is an insane prediction to make, considering it's been going on for so long and it's getting towards the end. But I stopped reading Sakamoto Days weekly about 20 chapters ago, so I'm like quite a bit behind on this manga. So I honestly don't really even know if it's about to end. That's just my shot in the dark because of everything that I'd seen leading up to this. But yeah, I mean, Sakamoto Days manga, gonna end. Next up, Chojin X anime. So if you don't know, I am a huge fan of the Tokyo Ghoul manga and of Ishida. I love Ishida. His art style is just amazing, and I think Chojin X is one of the best and most underrated new gen manga. I think what happens is people start reading it and that they think that it's gonna be like Tokyo Ghoul, but then it's not, and that will throw them off. In all seriousness, I think this is going to be an anime eventually, and I think it's going to be a great one. And at a time where they're readapting and remaking so many things, I feel like it's time for this one to get its own anime. All right, moving on. Dungeon anime become overdone. Okay, so this is a very, very subjective answer. Like, there's not going to be an objective dungeon anime are overdone, but what I mean by this is I think dungeon anime will become the new isekai. You know how every single isekai has been done and they put their spin on it and you just get that bland isekai look and then just with a tiny, tiny twist on the formula? I think that's what we're going to get with dungeon anime, which we already have got a lot of different dungeon anime, but let me explain. We're gonna get locked in the dungeon with the smartphone. We already have dungeon meshi. I got a harem in a dungeon. I guess a harem charm in the labyrinth of another world. Okay, you see what I'm saying? I think dungeon anime is going to take over that role that we know isekai for, as being like the trash anime of the season. Now, does that mean isekai are going to be gone? No, because isekai is never going away. But I do think that dungeon anime are going to become more and more prevalent, and I think eventually people are gonna get bored of them. I don't know if that'll happen this year, but hey, that's for me next year to figure out. Next up, No Game No Life Season 2. Okay, you can say I'm coping. You can say I'm coping. Every single anime season, every single time they're announcing stuff at like Jump Festa or anything like that, people are always praying and speculating about two things: a Tokyo Ghoul remake, No Game No Life Season 2. And honestly, both are equal amounts of copium, because genuinely I'm not sure if either will ever happen. But I thought No Game No Life Season 2 was a pretty good one to put on here, because imagine what I will look like next year. No Game No Life Season 2 has already fully aired. But hey, a man can hope, right? Next up, Isayama starts a new manga. Again, when I was making these predictions, I was kind of just shooting these off the top of my head, and I thought, dang, it's been a long time since Isayama finished Attack on Titan. And I do remember seeing quotes of him saying he wanted to start another manga when he's done with Attack on Titan. So why not now? Huh? Why not now? I mean, I again, just a complete guess. A lot of these are just complete shots in the dark. But if Isayama started a new manga, that would be cool. I mean, I want that to happen. It'd be really cool. Fingers crossed, Isayama starts a new manga. Next up, Chainsaw Man and Fortnite. Again, crazy. This is a crazy take, because like, if you've seen Chainsaw Man, you know how unfamily friendly this show is. It's so degenerate in a good way. But I think when the movie comes out and inevitably season 2 comes out, Chainsaw Man is going to become like the biggest anime on earth. People were like hyping Chainsaw Man up to no end for the first season, and I did think they did a really good job in the first season. Like, it arguably has the best animation of all time in season 1. But 12 episodes, unfortunately, was just not enough time to fully get into that Chainsaw Man feel. And if season 2 finishes and ends off where Chainsaw Man 1 ended off in the manga, I am telling you, this will be the biggest anime on earth, and I will not be the least bit surprised to see it in Fortnite. I mean, we've seen things from MAPPA like Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan in Fortnite, but they fully own the Chainsaw Man IP, so who knows? Maybe we'll see it in Fortnite, maybe we won't. Just a guess. Next, Tokyo Ghoul remake. I said it when I said No Game No Life Season 2, equal amounts of copium, equal amounts of huffing it right here, okay? Because I think Tokyo Ghoul is probably going to get a remake soon. There's no way they don't give this the Full Metal Alchemist treatment. With the horrendous anime that Tokyo Ghoul had, this show is still insanely big and still has an insanely big fan base. So I really think that pretty much any studio could pick up Tokyo Ghoul, give it decent animation, and just follow the storyline, and that is a can't lose situation. Please give us a Tokyo Ghoul remake. But next up, JoJo's Steel Ball Run anime announced. Now, this is practically a guarantee, because people have been talking about this for a long time, and especially recently, we've been getting a lot of leaks saying, oh, the anime's coming out, the anime is in production. And although we don't know for sure, I think this is probably my safest bet, other than what I'm using for my middle space, and you'll see why with that. I think we're gonna get JoJo back to its peak hype and peak meminess when we get part 7. So look out for that. That's for sure going to happen this year. If it doesn't, may God smite me down. And now for our middle spot, which is pretty much the safest pick, I think. Frieren wins Anime of the Year. I mean, what else can you say? When I say this, I mean the Crunchyroll Awards. So I think it's pretty safe to say Frieren is gonna win Anime of the Year. I mean, it's #1 rated on my anime list for a reason. It has an absolute feral fan base. People love it. And it's like the Krabby Patty of anime. Only people who don't like Frieren haven't watched Frieren. It has everything. It has an amazing story, amazing world building, a great way to use magic, emotional moments, hype moments, crazy fights. It's just like everything you want from an anime, and I think in the middle spot, that is the safest prediction I could have made. But moving on. The beginning after the end anime disappoints. This is also a pretty lukewarm take. Now that I'm looking at it, this whole line right here is pretty lukewarm, other than Tokyo Ghoul remake. I mean, we've seen the trailers for the beginning after the end anime, and it just doesn't look too good. The studio that has them hasn't ever really put out something that's like super high quality to like the level of like a Mushoku Tensei or anything like that. And just in all seriousness, it is kind of disappointing to see that it looks the way it does, but this is a peak isekai, and as an isekai man, and I wish this got the treatment that like ReZero or Mushoku Tensei got, and I'm just scared. I'm scared. It's peak though. It's peak. Moving on. Gachikuta becomes huge. Pretty lukewarm. This is like my free row right here, unless Tokyo Ghoul doesn't get a remake, which I probably won't. But Gachikuta becomes huge. I've talked about this in other videos before when I first found the manga, but I genuinely think that this has potential to be like the next Demon Slayer. The art is insane. It's written by an assistant or an editor for the person who does Soul Eater. It has such good character designs. I'm just completely convinced I'm gonna see these characters all over shirts and backpacks and anything like that. And honestly, the story is just simple enough for people to understand it. It's a bog standard revenge story with a really cool world and really cool power system. And at a time where a lot of the anime feels the same, I think Gachikuta is gonna give off way more of a feel of like a Dorohedoro than like your average shonen anime, which is just a lot of fun to see. This is just like my favorite new manga, and I highly recommend it. I think this will be the biggest anime of next year. Moving on, Witch Hat Atelier bad schedule. Okay, so if you don't know about Witch Hat Atelier, it is the third manga in the fantasy big three, because as anime fans, of course, everything needs to be in threes. And well, Witch Hat Atelier is amazing. People absolutely love it. The manga art is insane, and it has one of the most unique and coolest magic systems in anything. So if you're really into magic and that kind of stuff, you'll love this show. Now, why did I say bad schedule? Well, if you don't know, Bug Films, the studio behind Zom 100 anime, is animating Witch Hat Atelier, and it looks beautiful from the trailers. It looks like it's gonna be amazing. But if you didn't know the debacle with Zom 100, it's that they just constantly were releasing episodes right as they finished them, and they just didn't have the next episode done. So it was just delay after delay after delay. I think it started coming out in like July, and it was 12 episodes, and it didn't finish until December, and that just completely killed all Zom 100 season 2 hype. And now it's probably not even ever gonna get a season 2. So I mean, we'll just have to see where this goes. This is more of just a complete guess. And honestly, I think if Witch Hat Atelier does get a really bad release schedule, this will probably kill off Bug Films. Anyway, moving on. Gege Akutami new manga. I mean, if you don't know who Gege Akutami is, he's the author of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I mean, let's be honest, like with the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen, you could tell that Gege probably has something else he wants to work on, because he kind of just threw everything away in that last little bit. Like, it felt like either he was being rushed by the Shonen Jump, which would be stupid because Jujutsu Kaisen is the biggest manga on earth, or he was just done with it. I mean, the story was pretty samey towards the end there, and it finally ended, and I'm really excited to see if Gege can take all the stuff that he's learned through Jujutsu Kaisen, especially the way his power system works and things like that, and take everything and just create it into a new anime that I would hopefully think would be better. Anyway, moving on. Berserk remake. We are huffing all the copium today, guys. But let me explain myself. I think a lot of the thing with these remakes and stuff is it feels like so many things are getting remade right now. So many different anime are being made, and it's just like there's just so much anime right now. We're in like an anime renaissance where every single year we're getting these crazy new series as well as restarting like classics like Ramna Half and Spice and Wolf. And I just don't think it's that out of the question for Berserk to get a remake, for Tokyo Ghoul to get a remake. I don't know. I think people will think I'm really huffing copium with this one, which I kind of am, but I think it's pretty good. I think Berserk remake is not the craziest thing to ever happen, but at the same time, we'll have to see one day, guys. All right, moving on. This one I think is pretty safe. I could be wrong though, unless there's a film that came out this year that I'm not thinking of. I think Look Back gets anime movie of the year at the Crunchyroll, or film of the year at the Crunchyroll Awards, because this movie is amazing. So just go watch Look Back and come back when you're done, because this is by far my favorite, probably movie I've seen this year, but anime movie for sure. Moving on. Okay. See, I'm making some pretty crazy takes here because Kagurabachi for the most sold manga is pretty wild when there's just not a whole lot of it. I think the main reason we've been able to see things like Jujutsu Kaisen do so much better than One Piece is because the anime did so well, and then on top of that, it had such a big log of manga volumes that were already out that people could buy, and with Kagurabachi, that's just not the case. But this manga is huge. Like, From the first prints that it's had, it's outsold like every other manga that's like ever been made. It's insane. It's insanely big, and I really do think it transcends the meme. It's actually like a really, really good shonen. I think Jujutsu Kaisen fans are going to move over to the Kagurabachi fandom because it's very similar, a crazy unique power system and cool fights. So yeah, I mean, I can very highly see Kagurabachi being the most sold manga of the year, but with just the lack of volumes out, I'm not completely sure. But hey, it'd be a cool pull. It'd be a cool pull. All right, moving on. 10K subs. Now, this one's just for me. Obviously, this has only a little bit to do with anime, and that's only because I have an anime YouTube channel, but I think I will hit 10K subs in this next year. I would hope to hit more than 10K, but I think 10K is a good goal. That's a good milestone I gotta hit, and we'll see if we do that. If you're here right now and watching the video, I mean, maybe you should hit subscribe and help me get my goal. Please don't unsubscribe. All right, moving on. 20th Century Boys anime. More copium. Okay, it's been over a year since the release of Pluto, and we saw how well Pluto did. People absolutely loved it. Now, I know this took them like 10 years to make, but this shows that you can make a Urasawa manga and you can do it in modern animation and have it stand out still. And I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid, doing whatever, just praying that they announce a 20th Century Boys anime. They can just announce that it's starting production, and they can have a 10-year production line the same way that Pluto did. Please just announce it. I want it so bad. 20th Century Boys is so peak, and whenever that comes out, people will not be ready for just how deep and insane this story is. Moving on. One Piece hiatus. Now, I don't want to speak this into existence. If this ends up happening, don't come back to this video and curse me and say I'm a jinx or anything. But Oda has undeniably been on a generational run for a long time now. He has been releasing weekly manga for Shonen Jump for like 26 or 27 years. Like, it's actually insane that this man is still just releasing chapters mostly weekly with almost no breaks. But that being said, he has been taking a lot more breaks lately for his health, which I am always extremely happy to see. I just think there's a small chance that pretty soon here we will get a small hiatus out of One Piece, but hey, we'll see. A Black Clover comeback. A lot of these I know are just copium and shots in the dark. I keep saying it, but a Black Clover comeback, honestly, let's be honest, that's not that out of the question, but it's also not that likely either. I know that whenever they started saying the anime was going to come back when the movie dropped, that the general consensus was that it was going to come out in 2026. I personally believe that they like need to announce and maybe even get Black Clover out this year, or it's just going to lose the hype. When Black Clover stopped airing, it was like one of the biggest anime. But My Hero Academia, it was bigger, but it's still bigger, still coming out. Now you have Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dandadan, Sakamoto Days is coming out. We have Elusive Samurai. We have Wistoria Wand and Sword. We have Mashal. We have, I mean, like, we have so much stuff, and I just think that they need to get the Black Clover anime out now. Otherwise, there's no potential for this anime to grow, in my opinion. But I do think if it comes back and has Bleach 1000 Year Blood War type treatment, you could see that same resurgence for Black Clover just due to the fact that you have to watch it. So, I mean, we'll see. Again, shot in the dark. All right, and for the final prediction I have for 2025, it is Zom 100 Season 2, guys. This doesn't mean that it's going to be coming out this year, although I could see that happening. I think they're going to announce it. Now, I know when I was talking about Witch Hat Atelier, I said there probably won't ever be a Zom 100 Season 2, and I'm still under the belief that that could happen, but I think if they're going to announce it, it would have to also be this year for similar reasons to Black Clover. There's just so much stuff coming out, and like Zom 100 had such a disaster release schedule. I think you need to just get that second season out, prove you're a good studio, prove you could get the release schedule right, and just keep the animation on the same level it was, and people will remember why they loved this anime so much, because it was just so much fun. Like, it was just so much fun watching these dudes run around this zombie apocalypse ridden world and just like mess around. There's just so much like heart in this manga and in this anime that I think it needs to come out. There's so much potential for this anime to become an iconic one, in my opinion, like a Gurren Lagann, where it's just doing stuff because it's fun, you know, and people will just remember it and be like, oh yeah, that was hype. And I just think that they need to keep the schedule good. And I'm not saying to like kill your animators or to keep it going for too long. All I'm saying is I would love to see Zom 100 make a comeback. And I think for just popularity reasons, it should definitely be soon. And that is our finished bingo board for 2025. These are my predictions for the anime season next year, and we will check at the end of the year to see how I did. And again, if you guys want to do this yourself and participate in this, leave some of your predictions in the comments and I will create you guys a bingo board. I'll show it in one of my next videos, and then we can compare ideas at the end of this year and just see who did better. And I don't know, maybe I'll do something for you guys if you guys beat me. I mean, that's it today, guys. Thank you for watching the video. I mean, again, 2025 I hope will be a great year of anime. Don't let any of the negative stuff I'm saying in this video like scare you for the upcoming year. In all seriousness, I just want it to be a good year for everybody. I thought it'd be fun if I did this in like a gamey type of way, made this kind of video. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you. Peace.